What if I told you that the personal information of over 300 million Americans, including your social security number, address, and date of birth, was sitting unprotected on a government server, vulnerable to hackers and identity thieves? Today, we're diving into what could be the largest social security scandal in American history. A high-ranking whistleblower has come forward with shocking allegations that could affect every single person watching this video. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what happened, how it could impact you personally, and what needs to happen next to protect your data. Welcome back to Financial Area, where we break down the financial news and scandals that directly impact your wallet and your future. If this kind of content helps you stay informed about threats to your financial security, smash that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening coverage. This isn't your typical government whistleblower story. We're not talking about some disgruntled low-level employee making wild accusations. The person who came forward with these earth-shattering allegations is the Chief Data Officer of the Social Security Administration, someone with direct oversight and intimate knowledge of the agency's most sensitive data management practices. Think about that for a moment. This is the person whose job it is to protect your data, and they're telling us that protection has catastrophically failed. So what exactly did this whistleblower reveal? According to their 18-page complaint, a group of Social Security Administration employees created a complete copy of the records of more than 300 million Americans. Let me repeat that. 300 million Americans. That's nearly every single person in this country. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. This massive database containing your most sensitive personal information was then stored on a cloud server that, according to the Chief Data Officer, lacked adequate security oversight and tracking mechanisms. We're talking about a treasure trove of data that includes your full name, social security number, date of birth, address, citizenship status, and even your parents' names. The whistleblower didn't mince words about the potential consequences. They warned that if bad actors gained access to this information, the results could be catastrophic. And here's the kicker. There was no meaningful monitoring to determine who could access this information. Your most private data was sitting there, essentially unguarded. But perhaps the most infuriating part of this entire scandal is what happened next. The Chief Data Officer repeatedly sounded the alarm internally, warning agency officials about these massive security vulnerabilities. They filed reports, sent warnings, and made it crystal clear that this was a ticking bomb waiting to explode. And what did the Social Security Administration do with these warnings? Absolutely nothing. No meaningful action was taken to address the vulnerabilities, your data remained exposed, and the agency continued business as usual. Now, let's talk about what this means for you and your family, because the implications are staggering and deeply personal. First, we're looking at the potential for widespread identity theft on a scale this country has never seen. With your social security number, full name, date of birth, and address all in one place, identity thieves would have everything they need to open credit accounts in your name, file fraudulent tax returns, and steal your identity completely. But it gets worse. The breach could jeopardize your access to healthcare and food benefits if you rely on government assistance. Imagine trying to prove you're eligible for Medicare or food stamps when the very system designed to verify your identity has been compromised. And here's the nightmare scenario that keeps government officials awake at night. The possibility that the breach is so severe that the government would be forced to reissue social security numbers to every single American. Think about the logistics of that for a moment.
Every bank account, every credit card, every insurance policy, every employment record, everything tied to your social security number would need to be updated. The cost alone would be astronomical, potentially reaching into the trillions of dollars. But the human cost would be even greater. Elderly Americans who depend on their social security checks could face delays or disruptions. Workers might find themselves unable to access their retirement accounts. The entire fabric of our financial system could be thrown into chaos. Let's put a human face on this crisis, because while politicians debate and bureaucrats make excuses, real people are already feeling the impact of this negligence. Take farmers and rural communities, who have already been hit hard by economic uncertainty and policy changes. For these Americans, who often rely on government programs for healthcare and support, the prospect of losing access due to a data breach isn't just inconvenient, it's potentially life-threatening. Consider the single parent working 2 jobs, depending on food assistance to feed their children, or the retiree who spent decades paying into Social Security now facing the possibility that their benefits could be disrupted because their data was carelessly exposed. These aren't abstract statistics. These are your neighbors, your family members, maybe even you. And their financial security is now hanging in the balance because of government negligence. So how has the Social Security Administration responded to these explosive allegations? With the kind of bureaucratic double talk and damage control that would make any PR firm proud. The agency claims it takes all whistleblower complaints seriously and is committed to safeguarding personal data. They insist that the data in question was walled off from the internet and stored on what they call a long-standing server, supposedly minimizing the risk of external compromise. They also claim they're unaware of any actual breach or compromise of the data. But here's the problem. The whistleblower's account directly contradicts every single one of these official claims. The chief data officer maintains that the data was not secure, that the lack of oversight left it vulnerable to unauthorized access, and that the agency's assurances are simply not credible. This isn't just a he said, she said situation. We're talking about someone whose job it was to oversee data security, telling us that security was non-existent, while the same agency that ignored their warnings is now claiming everything was fine. The public isn't buying it, and frankly, neither should you. This scandal is erupting at the worst possible time for public trust in government institutions. Americans are already skeptical of their leaders, and the perception that sensitive personal data has been mishandled is deepening that skepticism exponentially. At town hall meetings across the country, constituents are demanding answers from their representatives. Online forums are exploding with angry citizens calling for accountability. The public response has been swift, vocal, and unforgiving. People are demanding independent investigations, greater transparency, and concrete steps to ensure that such a breach can never happen again. They're asking the hard questions. How did this happen? Who's going to be held accountable? And most importantly, what are you going to do to protect us moving forward? The political implications are enormous. In an already divided political landscape, this scandal is becoming a flashpoint that transcends party lines. Because when your Social Security number is at risk, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you want answers and you want them now. So what needs to happen next? Because make no mistake, the response to this crisis will determine not just the future of the Social Security Administration, but the entire relationship between the American people and their government. First, we need an immediate, independent investigation into every aspect of this data handling scandal.
Not an internal review, not a bureaucratic whitewash, but a real investigation with teeth, led by people who don't have a vested interest in covering up the truth. Second, we need complete transparency about what data was exposed, for how long, and who potentially had access to it. The American people deserve to know the full scope of this breach, not sanitized talking points designed to minimize political damage. Third, heads need to roll. The officials who ignored repeated warnings about data security vulnerabilities need to be held accountable. This level of negligence demands consequences, not golden parachutes and quiet reassignments. Fourth, we need massive investment in cybersecurity infrastructure across all government agencies. This can't be treated as an IT problem or a budget line item. It needs to be recognized as a national security priority. But most importantly, we need to rebuild the trust that has been shattered. That means not just technical fixes, but a fundamental change in how government agencies approach their responsibility to protect citizen data. The human impact of this scandal cannot be overstated. We're not just talking about data points or statistics. We're talking about the financial security and peace of mind of hundreds of millions of Americans. The elderly person worried about their Social Security check, the working family concerned about identity theft, the young adult just starting their career. All of them deserve better than this level of negligence from their government. This is also a stark reminder of the crucial role that whistleblowers play in our democracy. The chief data officer who came forward with these allegations took enormous personal and professional risks to warn the American people about this threat. They deserve our protection and our gratitude, not retaliation or silence. The media, too, has a vital role in ensuring this story doesn't disappear into the 24-hour news cycle. Investigative reporters who dig deep into government failures provide an essential check on power and help ensure that the public interest is served. As we look toward the future, the stakes couldn't be higher. Social Security isn't just a government program, it's a promise that if you work hard and pay into the system, you'll have security in your retirement years. A promise that if you become disabled, you won't be left to fend for yourself. A promise that the government will protect your most sensitive personal information. This scandal represents a fundamental breach of that promise, and the response will determine whether that trust can be rebuilt or whether it's lost forever. The Social Security program is a pillar of American society, providing essential support to millions of our most vulnerable citizens. Ensuring its integrity and security must be a top priority for every policymaker, administrator, and citizen who cares about the social contract that binds us together. This scandal is a wake-up call for the nation. It highlights the dangers of complacency, the importance of vigilance, and the need for a renewed commitment to public service. As new details continue to emerge, it's essential that government officials, the media, and ordinary citizens work together to protect the integrity of vital social programs and the security of personal information. For millions of Americans, the promise of Social Security is a promise of dignity, security, and hope. The question now is whether we'll demand the accountability and reforms necessary to keep that promise, or whether we'll allow bureaucratic negligence to undermine one of our most important social safety nets. The choice is ours, and the time to act is now. If this video opened your eyes to just how vulnerable your personal data really is, hit that like button and share it with everyone you know. Subscribe to Financial Area for more investigations into the financial scandals and government failures that directly impact your life. And let me know in the comments, what do you think should happen to the officials who ignored these warnings? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.